Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Krystal, and today I'm going to talk about my hair journey. Okay, I have had blonde hair for years now, but I did not start with blonde hair. I was born with very dark brown hair, and that's what I had for, well, I've had tons of different colored hair. Now, I'm going to insert pictures. I don't know how many and I don't know where, so they'll just like randomly be just popping in the video, just for the simple fact that I don't know exactly what pictures I'm going to be able to dig up. You know, it just depends on what I'm able to find. But I have had many different colors of hair. Obviously, let's see, when did I start actually being able to color my hair or like bleach it or whatever? Because I know a lot of parents do not allow their children to do that. Like, it's a big deal. My mom let me start, I don't think it was junior high, I want to say it was high school. For the first time, I got to go get highlights. And so, pretty sure it was foil highlights. I don't think it was cap. Well, I'd had cap highlights like done at home by my mom or whatnot. But I remember the first time I got to go to a salon and get highlights done. And she did foil highlights and I thought I was hot shit. And I mean, honestly, it looked good. That was one of the times that I got highlights that it was, I don't even remember like her using a toner, and this was in a salon. I don't even remember her using a toner. I just remember her putting in the bleaching the, doing foils, rinsing it and drying it. I don't remember a toner. Maybe she did a toner, but I don't remember a toner. Until I went to beauty school, until, I got my license, I didn't know that whenever you got your hair bleached and you did any sort of blonde, that you needed a toner. I thought you just put bleach on your hair and bam, you were instantly, blonde. So the fact that, yeah, I had no idea. Do I remember her using a toner? No. Everybody's different. Some people apply their toners while you're in the bowl and you just lay back in the bowl and they apply the toner there. Some people will apply the toner while you're sitting in the chair. Some people, some toners are more of like a liquid. Some of them are more of like a jelly type, consistency. So it kind of just depends. To me personally, it's uncomfortable to lay in a bowl while the toner's on because you have to sit there for a while. But I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't want like orange or piss yellow hair. So do what you got to do. So I started out with brown hair. The first thing I ever did was get highlights, and then that was basically it. If I had anything done to my hair, it was getting highlights, bleaching it blonde, getting some blonde in there, all that good stuff. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember ever, like if I had highlights, they obviously grew off of my head because I don't remember consistently being taken to the salon to get like, a root touch up, get some extra foils to help blend. I'm pretty sure it just grew off. Wow. I digress. Anyways, so I was in college. I don't really remember doing a whole lot to my hair whenever I was in college. It was kind of just like brown. If I can find some pictures, I will include them. But I was very busy in college doing things and stuff and hanging out with people and making friends and going to class. And I don't remember taking a whole lot of pictures, to be honest. So anyways, I did end up going to cosmetology school. I did have my license. I do not have it anymore. A lot of people ask, like, did you keep your license up? No, because after doing hair for a couple years, I kind of decided it was not for me working in a salon. It's just not. It's a lot. If you don't realize this, but a lot of people don't unless you've worked it, a lot of stylists, especially starting out, to build your clientele, is a lot, okay? First of all, you're not going to make a ton at first because you don't have a huge clientele built up already. So it's it's a lot. It's stressful. You're doing people you don't know. You're trying to do the best you can because you want them to come back and ask for you again. It's very stressful, obviously, because you go from, you know, school to working. The salon I was working in did not do like a mentorship. It was kind of like, cool, you got your license, start doing. A lot of salons nowadays will do like a mentorship where you learn and stuff before they throw you to the wolves and start having you just run solo. I did not have that luxury, which is fine. It is what it is. But a lot of times stylists will I worked from 7 a.m. and sometimes I didn't leave till 9 p.m. Okay, and it's not like I made a shit ton of money. All right, and very few salons offer insurance, stuff like that. It just it's not something I'm interested in. So yes, I did let my license go. It's gone. It was an Arkansas license anyways, and I've lived in so many different states since then. You know, it was just not worth trying to keep up with. So my license is, I don't have it anymore, for people that are curious and ask me. So that's why, because I literally have no want or need to ever do hair again. It's just not my thing, okay? It's not what I want to do. I like talking to people. I like interacting with people now. Then it was something I really did not like doing. I wasn't mature enough to be good at it. The communication part, and so that was partly of what I didn't like. Now it's more insurance, and I have 2 kids and I want to be home with them as much as possible. So I want a career. Yes, I do, but I want to be home with my kids as often as I can. And when you're working in a salon Monday through Saturday, you got to get in those hours, and it's just not in the cards for me. But anyways, it's about my hair journey. So in cosmetology school, went through a lot of different things. Red hair, and when I say red, I mean like a purpley red color, not like red like this. I had red hair as in like copper, ginger, like redhead type red hair. That was an accident. I think I had that purpley red color, and I decided I wanted to be blonde, and then we just went for it, and then I ended up stopping at copper, and that is where its absolute limit was. It would not go blonde. And so one of the instructors at my school slapped on a different color, and then I was basically a redhead for a little bit, which didn't look bad. I would never do it again though, because reds are the hardest to get out of your hair. Once you go red, especially if you're not someone that constantly bleaches and does like fun, vibrant colors often, if you make that decision to go red, it's going to take time to get it out of your hair. It was years before all of the layers of that purpley red color was gone. I had to basically grow it out of my hair, because years and years and years later, I would go to get like bleach, and they would be like, did you have red in your hair recently? And I'm like, no, it's been forever. So just keep in mind, if you decide to go on that journey, which it's a beautiful color, I loved it. It was like a cherry cola red. I loved it. It was fun, and it was a way to be dark, but also have like a fun color. It is difficult to get out. God bless your journey of getting that out of your hair. But for a long, long time, I was natural. When I got pregnant with my daughter, and throughout the years, like first years of her life, natural. I never went to the salon. I never did anything really to my hair. I didn't cut it. It just grew. It was healthy. It was strong. It was pretty. I got it cut off because I decided that I wanted a bob, and then I got like this much hair cut off, and it was supposed to be like shoulder length. She jacked it up. It ended up being an asymmetrical bob that was really, really short in the back and still short in the front, because she accidentally gave me a chunk out over on this side, and she had to fix it. And that time I got it actually right before I got married. We're backing up. Right before I got married, I had gone to the salon with a friend and decided that I was going to get the top of my hair bleached blonde and the bottom was going to be black. I know I have pictures of that. The level of trash that I looked in my bridal photos, which is fine now because I'm divorced. I mean, like, I'm getting a divorce, so who gives a flying shit? But at the time, it was like, why? So just if you're getting married and you're doing these sort of photos, be thinking about what you're doing to your hair. Don't go make major hair decisions. So right before I got married, I decided, hey, on my wedding day, I don't want this trash hair. So I went and had it all dyed just like a rich, beautiful brown color. And then after that, I didn't have it touched again. And I just kind of grew that out and grew out my hair and let my natural hair come in, yada, yada, yada. I was pregnant, barfing for 9 months. So for 9 whole months, I didn't care what my hair looked like. It just stayed in a bun. And then, you know, I did a few things to my hair. Like I said, I chopped it and it was like a, kind of like a rich, deep brown. I also got it dyed whenever I got it cut that time in the short asymmetrical bob. And then I was like, I hate this thing. I'm going to grow it out. Started growing it out. I've never been one, like sometimes I'll get a wild hair and want a haircut. I did get another trim, and in between that and when I got pregnant with Max, I really didn't dye my hair. I didn't color my hair. Dyeing and coloring, same thing. I didn't bleach it. I didn't color it. I didn't cut it. I hardly touched it. I went in for a trim at one salon in Wyoming, and she trims my hair, and then she's like, okay, you're good. And I was like, my hair's still wet. And she was like, you didn't ask for a dry when you made your appointment. I was like, excuse me, how do you know what my hair looks like if you don't dry it? And so I left there with wet hair, and I was like, how, are you kidding me? Have you ever had that happen? Have you ever had a salon tell you had to request them drying your hair? Like, that was a different charge and a different service. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have time to dry your hair. My next person's coming in, you gotta go. And I'm like, wow, this is a way to get someone to come back to you. So anyways, obviously I didn't go back to her, but after I had Max, my hair was down to my butt. It was all natural, my color, no, like virgin hair, had not been touched. I came to Louisiana shortly after, I think it was his first birthday. We came to Louisiana for his first birthday party, and while I was here, my mom made me an appointment and treated me to getting a balayage, and so I got a balayage done. I'm gonna be honest, it was expensive, overpriced, and I really couldn't even tell anything had happened. I got back home, and my mom and ex-husband were both like, it looks great, but what did she do exactly? And you know it's never good whenever you're going and someone's like doing your hair and you go in and come back out and they're like, what's different? And so they were both like, if you're happy, we're happy, you know? And I was like, okay. I mean, I wasn't thrilled with it because it didn't look very different at all, to be honest, but you know, it is what it is. Then after that, I didn't touch it. Couple of years go by, or about a year, maybe a little less. And I got it in my head. I was like, you know what? I need to treat myself. I'm going to find a salon. This is when we were still in Wyoming. I was like, I'm going to find a salon and I'm going to go, make an appointment. And there are like no salons in Cheyenne, Wyoming. They're all like these little hole in the wall, like old lady perm kind of salons. And so my only option was to go to Ulta or to drive to Denver. And I was like, I'm not driving to Denver to get my hair done. So I make an appointment with this girl at Ulta, and I'm just like, okay, cool. I'm going to get some highlights and a haircut. And like I said, my hair was to my butt. So I go in and she, you know, I tell her, I'm like, lop it off, shoulder length, give me some highlights. And she's like, oh my gosh, okay. She lops off the hair, you know, cuts it off, gives me highlights. We didn't do super heavy. We did, you know, some highlights, and it wasn't super duper blonde, which was fine. I didn't need it to be super blonde. No big deal. And it was a really pretty color. It looked really good. I liked it. It definitely lightened up my hair a lot. And so like 4 weeks later, I call back, make another appointment, go in, more highlights. So I get more highlights. And then maybe I had 3 appointments while we still lived in Wyoming. And then we moved to Colorado Springs. And so I was like, all right, I need, to go in. So I went for a couple appointments with the girl that I used for years in Colorado, Jazz. And, she would do a full set of highlights on me. And I'm talking about heavy highlights. I would be there for 4 hours. It was pricey. And one day I came in and I just was not in the mood to sit there through all these foils. And I said, hey, how hard would it be to go completely blonde? And she was like, not hard at all. So she stood there, and instead of doing foils that day, she picked through and she bleached everything that wasn't bleached and then gave me a full tone. And then after that, all I have to do now is go in, have my roots touched up. I get a full tone all over my entire head. So normally they put the toner on the roots first and then they drag it out to the ends just to make sure everything's like cohesive and looks the same, and to really like freshen up this part of my hair, the entirety of my head. And I've been doing this for years, okay? Do I have breakage from time to time? Yes. I don't think that necessarily has as much to do. I mean, obviously it's partially because I'm putting bleach on my hair, but also I can tell when my hormones are a little wonky. I can tell when maybe my diet's off or something like that, because I'll have breakage and then I'll notice that it's happening, and then I'll start to, pay attention to certain areas, like, am I drinking enough water? Am I eating nutritious enough food? Am I making sure I'm taking my vitamins and my supplements? Am I making sure I'm taking my medications like I'm supposed to? Am I, have I been putting a little extra heat on it? Do I need to maybe not do that? Maybe try to wash it once a week instead of twice a week and stuff like that. And I can make some tweaks and, like nip that in the butt before it gets bad. Most of the time my breakage will be in these areas. These are very delicate areas. It will be by my ears. I've always had breakage there. And then, around my hairline. And then I get breakage really bad back here as well, on the back of my neck. But for the most part, I have very strong, healthy hair. I don't have a lot of shedding. I don't have a lot of issues with it. It's not dry. It's not brittle. Now, every once in a while, it'll be dry. I do a hair mask. I freshen it back up. I get these ends trimmed, and we're good to go again. Yeah, so I will say when I started with all blonde, my hair was probably about right here, and I had like a blunt cut. That is kind of my go-to whenever I'm feeling like my hair is a little dead and is a little, like, hey, go up here, give me a blunt cut all this shit off. We're going to start over. Right now, my main goal is to keep it as healthy as possible, because I do want to continue to grow it out. I want it to be about boobie length, which we're getting there. And this is not years of growing it out. This is years of me growing it out a little bit, letting it get a little long, and then lopping it back off, and then growing it back out, and then lopping it back off. So if I had continually been growing this since I first started getting like all blonde, it would be way longer by now. But I had a problem with it would get to that weird stage about right here-ish, where it would hit your shoulders and kind of like try to flip out and curl under and have that Jennifer Aniston look. And I would tell her, cut it back off. Just cut it back off. So now we've gotten past that awkward stage, and we are here, which it looks really good. I'm very proud of it, and I do try to take very good care of my hair. I sleep on a satin pillowcase, satin silk, whatever you want to say. I sleep on, a satin pillowcase. I try to use good quality products. I try not to put heat on it unless I absolutely just really want some curls. For the most part, I try to stay with straight hair. I try to wash it as little as possible, and I know that sounds gross, but honestly, I do not want to wash my hair every day. That would be a nightmare. If ideally once a week is wash schedule. I don't use dry shampoo because I do not like the way it builds up on my scalp. So I am not a dry shampoo kind of gal. In a pinch, if I have to use it, I will. But honestly, they are so bad for you. And I've just read so many things about how dry shampoo, you know, and just the stuff that's in it and everything's like, I'll pass, you know. But I don't really use a ton of product on my hair. That's just one thing I don't do. I know there are some people that have like 15 different products they put in their hair every single time they do it. I am not a huge product person. A lot of those just build up on the scalp and build up on the hair, and then you have like the need for a clarifying shampoo to, you know, really get it clean. It's not something I do. I don't use a ton of products on my hair. I don't like it whenever almost every time I get my hair done, I go home and wash it after they've washed and dried it because they put tons of product in it and I just don't like it. And I know it's the salons, it's just what they do. They have certain products that they like. I don't like when my hair feels stiff and sticky. It's gross. It's not for me. But yeah, so I have been blonde for a long time and I just kind of wanted to share my hair journey a little bit just for the simple fact that I feel like a lot of people will see my hair and you could want to go to a salon and say, hey, here's a picture. I want my hair to look like hers. And yes, it's achievable. Is it achievable all at once? Possibly, but I'd say probably not. Because even going in with completely virgin hair, I still didn't end up coming out with white blonde hair. I had like this really caramelly blonde color, and then I gradually did more and more foils, more and more, it just more and more blonde started popping up, and then it came to, you know, blonde that had art that was maybe like a caramel color was getting bleached again, and that was turning white, and then, you know what I mean, over time slowly I ended up here. So if you're someone, because part of the reason why I wanted to transition to blonde is because I have a lot of grays. I have a lot of grays. And so it was either get my roots touched up for blonde or constantly be in there getting my roots touched up to cover my grays. Either way, I would have been in a salon a lot. So I decided to go blonde and I really like it. It's just me now. I think I'd feel weird being a brunette because I've just looked like this for so long. But my point is if you're someone that wants to transition into like a full blonde, especially if you have dark hair, take your time and do it right. And then you won't be going through the issue of breakage and chemical cuts and frying your hair and feeling like you need to do a big chop and feeling like there's people that have had to shave their heads and stuff like that. So do it slow and take your time. Don't rush the process for the simple fact that it's not worth it if you want your hair to be healthy. Yeah, it's great if you can get your hair blonde. And there have been many times in my life when I was working a salon, I would get in my head like, hey, I want to be blonde now. And we would slap foils on my head and I would end up frying my hair. But it's not worth it because then your hair's not healthy and it cannot, like, you can't keep it like that. You've got to like stop for a couple of months at least just to give your hair a break. And I walked around one day. I had some girls at work put bleach on my head for highlights. So we had put in highlights and got busy, kind of left it in a little too long, rinsed it out. My hair was rinsing off in the bowl. And then I went to dry it and my hair was just blowing off. So I literally just stopped right there, grabbed as many moisturizing products as I could, put them all over my hair, put on a hairnet or like a little cap. And I walked around for 2 straight days and never took that cap off. I'm talking about I went to get food. I was out in public. I was sleeping in it for 2 straight days. Thankfully, when I took it off and I rinsed it and like dried it, more hair did break off, but not a ton more. And so after that, I had a pretty gnarly chemical cut. It was actually a pretty cute haircut. I lucked up, but just be careful. It's not always about speed. Sometimes it's about what do you want in the long run? And I just didn't want anybody to see my hair and be like, oh, she used to have dark hair. She says she used to be, you know, dark-headed, and now she's blonde, so I'm just going to go in and say, I want my whole head blonde. Probably wouldn't do that unless you have virgin hair. And then maybe you could go in and get it lightened, toned, and then go back in a couple of weeks and get it lightened more and toned again, and then maybe you could get to where you want to go. But it's not just an instant put bleach on there. And if you go to anybody and they want to slap 40 volume on your hair, maybe no. It's better to lift it slow, is all I'm gonna say. If anybody tries to use anything but 20 volume on my head, it's a no for me, and I'm gonna run out the door. Don't you come at me with no. But anyways, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this little hair journey video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that before you go. Also, you can check my description box for the link to my Instagram and my TikTok, so you can follow me over there. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.